Okay, so I'm going to do the hardest one, and then you guys will be able to do the rest. So this is number 4.
What?
I'm sorry, number 8.
Not that bad.
Okay, so first I need to find the vertex. So I'm going to use the equation negative b over 2a. Negative 8 over, this will be negative 8 over negative 6, which is 4/3. That is the x value of my vertex. I'm going to plug this in to each of these x's to find the y value of the vertex. This will be 16 over 9 because we squared this fraction, and we're going to multiply it by negative 3. Okay, what's 3 times 16? 48. This will be 48 over 9. They could both be reduced. This will be 16 over 3, negative. I'm going to turn the 16 into a fraction. If I want to add these fractions together, I need the same denominator. So this will become 48. Okay, now let's just combine the numerators. Negative 16 plus 32 plus 48 is 64. So this is the y value of the vertex. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it's easier to graph decimals. This is 1.3. This is 21.3. So I'm going to go ahead and graph my vertex. Now notice on your page 2, this graph is not big enough. So what should I do when my graph is not big enough? Don't go by ones, okay? I'll go by 4s. You can go by whatever you want. I'm going to go by 4s. 4, 8, 16. And I'm going to make my x values just go by 1. Okay, so my vertex is at 1.3, 21.3. That's right there. Do you guys know what the y-intercept is? Yes, it's 16. And the way we know that is if you just plug in zeros. If you plug in a 0 here and a 0 here, you're left with 16. So my y-intercept is at 16 right there. This is my vertex. And let's find the x-intercepts. Now, if I want to find the x-intercepts, let's do the work for that. I'm just going to use the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I'm just going to replace the numbers. The b's are going to replace with 8. Replace it with 8. The a and the c, a will be replaced with negative 3 because this is a, b, c. And then the c value is replaced with 16. Okay, so you can just input this into your calculator. Oh, one more a to replace. Replace this a with a negative 3. So this will become x equals negative 8 plus or minus, let's figure out what goes under the square root, over negative 6. 8 squared is 64 minus, what is this value? 192. So this is negative 192, but 2 negatives make a positive. So when you add those together, what's 64 plus 192? 256, thank you so much. 256, and what is the square root of 256? 16. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of that and put 16. Okay, so I'm gonna get two answers. X equals, I have -8 plus 16 divided by -6. That would be +8 over -6. So we'll have -4/3 as one of our answers. And then the other one, -8 minus 16 is -24 divided by -6 is a +4. So these are my two x-intercepts. So -4/3, this is the same thing as -1.3. That's about right here between -1 and -2. And then x value 4 right there. So that is how my graph would look. I think some other questions on the page, it wants the axis of symmetry. So if I were to split this down the middle, it goes through the x-axis where? 1.3, because that was the vertex, 1.3 and 21.3. So that means the axis of symmetry, you're going to write x equals 1.3, or you can write it as a fraction, 4/3, whichever way you want. And another question, does this graph have a maximum or a minimum? Maximum, it has a very top. The maximum is at what y value? Yep, so max is at 21.3. Okay, so that's what you guys are doing today. Let's go back to our homework yesterday, what we went over yesterday, and let's see if we have any questions. Okay, so we had a question on number 8 from yesterday. Okay, so we're given this equation, and the scenario is that someone hits a soccer ball and it travels based off of this equation. This is the projection of the soccer ball. It goes like this until it hits the ground. Okay, so we want to know what the domain and the range is. Okay, so remember, domain are the x values. So it's going to be from 0, time of 0 seconds, to whatever time it hits the ground. That would be the domain, okay? The range is the y values, basically the height. So the very bottom, the height is 0, and the very top is how high the ball goes. That would be the range, okay? So if I want to find the range, the very top, the highest height would be the maximum, and the lowest height would be the ground. So it's going to be from 0 to whatever that highest height was. Does that make sense? Okay, so we need to find that vertex. So let's go ahead and find the vertex. So to find the vertex, we use this equation, -b over 2a. So this is my b value right here. So I'm going to put -20 over 2, and my a value is -16. So if you put this in your calculator, what do you get?
Whoa, 0.6.
Okay, 0.625, I'll take it. Okay, so that is the number of seconds it takes for the ball to reach the maximum height. That's the first value in my vertex. Let's find the height. What do I do? Plug this into the equation. So guys, go ahead and type that into your equation or into your calculator. 12.75. Perfect. Okay, so the highest the soccer ball goes is 12.75 feet. It reaches that height in 0.625 seconds. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is the height, the highest height. So guys, the question for the range, that means the range, the lowest that the ball goes is at 0 feet. And the highest that the ball goes is 12.75 feet. So that would be the range. Okay, now let's talk about the domain. Domain is time, the x-axis. So time in seconds is 0 seconds. And then how long does it take for it to hit the ground right there? Okay, so we need to find this x-intercept. So we're going to use the quadratic formula. Okay, so we'll do x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so we're going to erase these b values, and what do I put in its spot? 20s, that's the b value. And then a and c, a is negative 16, c is 6.5. All right, oh, and this a value is negative 16. Okay, so we just have to calculate that. This is negative 20 plus or minus, what's 20 times 20? 400 plus, what's 4 times 16 times 6.5? 416. Okay, just make sure. Is it right? Okay, all over 2 times negative 16, negative 32. Okay, and then calculate what this number is. 816, square root of that? 28.56 over negative 32. Okay.
With the round.
Oh, 0.57. Okay. All right, so guys, we want the positive answer, okay? We don't have negative time. This will give you two answers, a positive one and a negative one. So, yeah, we're going to do negative 20 minus 28.57, which is what? Negative 48.57 divided by negative 32. Can you put that into the calculator?
Yeah.
You'll get x equals
1.5178125.
Okay, so in 1.52 seconds, the ball will hit the ground. So that means your domain, it goes from 0 seconds to 1.52 seconds. Okay, because right here, we just discovered the x-intercept right there is at 1.52. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so guys, all throughout what we've been doing so far with the projectile motion, all we've been doing is finding the vertex or finding the x-intercepts. To find the vertex, you use this little formula. To find the x-intercepts, you use the quadratic formula. So each question that y'all have had yesterday and today, you're doing some variation of these two formulas. Okay? Any more questions from yesterday, today, the day before? Okay. All right. I'm going to let you guys practice.